North Smithfield Town Council meeting, January 16th, 2024. Madam Clerk, can you start us with the prayer and a pledge, please?
Thank you for bringing us together today in a spirit of generosity. May we honor one another by keeping an open mind. May we voice our truth and listen with an open heart. May we discern your will to unite in a fruitful outcome. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Beauregard?
Here.
Ms. Hamilton?
Here.
Mrs. O'Hara?
Here.
Mr. Ogier?
Here.
Ms. Alves?
Here. Open forum for non-agenda items only pursuant to 42-46-6D, maximum 3 minutes per person. Is there anyone else that wanted to sign up to speak?
Do I have to go here? Okay.
Yeah, go ahead, Claire.
I'm coming before you because we have a really bad problem on Greenville Road with icing because of the overflow from the upper area. Yesterday, my daughter called me, 5 other people called me as they went around the bend next to where the electric lines are, pure ice. They have big vehicles. I called the town barn to see if it could be sanded, something could be done. They don't answer. It happened today again. And DOT, maybe they go in for 9, I don't know, but they don't answer. It's very dangerous. We all know that DOT has been working, putting gullies in, berms on the other side so it won't overflow. But where it comes around the curve, going up or down, when they leave for work at 7, it is iced. I was hoping they could sand it again or something else because it wasn't exactly sunny and it wasn't going to melt. So it's been like that for a long time. DOT has put gullies in, etc., but where it comes around, there's no gullies. And it's dangerous because on one side it's high, on the other side may have a little berm, but they could go right down into those houses. So I'm asking you to see how we can work with the state to rectify that. Make sure it's sanded, check it in the morning. But, you know, not all people start at 8 o'clock. My son-in-law leaves on that road at 4 o'clock in the morning. And you don't have to be going, you can be going under the miles. But if there's not traction and it's all ice, there's going to be severe accidents. When you have one of those humongous trucks that can be turned around. And thank God that some people know how to maneuver on ice, but not everybody does. So I'm asking you to see if we rectify that before something serious happens. And I don't know if they're shorthanded, but when you call the town barn, no one ever answers. You leave a message, and I've never got one back. So if we can work together, I don't want to wait until someone gets seriously hurt. Because when the weather's bad, everyone starts out early. They want to take their time. Well, too early, late, the sun doesn't hit there because it's overshadowed by the trees. So I'm hoping you can work with me. I know the town barn with this weather has been very difficult. But, and they say, well, it's a state road. Well, then let's get a hold of the state and do something. It won't just be my family, but the families that have to travel that road to get on 146 further down. And now we know that a problem exists. If we can work together to rectify it, it might save a life. Thank you.
Councilwoman. This morning, FEMA representatives were to fly in from Washington, D.C. for us to have a meeting. They couldn't get out of D.C. So tomorrow, we've rescheduled that meeting. Prior to that meeting, we had scheduled with both police chief and fire chief, director of public works, building official, town planner, and finance director to have a meeting so that we could review the situations on Rhode Island Route 104. Yeah, it's a state road, as you said. We have major flooding down on Cross Lamoureux, Iron Mine Road, flooding throughout town. This has been a terrible, perfect storm for wetness. But FEMA tomorrow, we're going to be seeing if they can give us some assistance, because it is millions of dollars to put in detention ponds. And then you have to get EPA, DEM, so we're going to be working on that tomorrow.
And we have a lot of swales through that.
Yep.
And they clean them out next to I-9. My daughter built a house in 2018 years ago, let's put it that.
Okay?
And the first swale goes out into pond.
Mm-hmm.
That swale and the huge funnel that goes under, they have cleaned other ones, but that one has never been cleaned.
Okay, so this will all be addressed tomorrow.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Next item is North Smithfield Town Council sitting as Board of License Commissioners. Discussion by council vote or other action on holiday sales / victualling license, DBA Rise Up Nutrition, located at 900 Victory Highway, Unit 17, applicant Alyssa Bork. Did you want to just get up?
Hello.
Can you just state your name and your address, please?
Alyssa Bork, and my home address or the location?
Home address.
Home address, 71 Cross Street, Woonsocket, Rhode Island.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Can I ask you a question?
Mhm.
Can you just tell us a little bit about the business? Because
Yes.
maybe folks don't know about it yet.
No worries. So it is a current business. I'm taking over from a good friend of mine. It's a nutrition club. It is where we sell protein shakes and healthy, energizing teas. We were just a change of ownership as of the first of the year.
And Madam Clerk, everything is in order? Anyone want to make a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the new ownership general business license for Rise Up Nutrition, Rhode Island LLC, which is having hours of operation from Monday through Friday, 6:30 to 4?
6:30 to 2.
6:30 to 2, and Saturday, 8 to 12?
Yes.
Okay, closed Sunday.
Yes, closed on
Okay.
Sundays.
All right, and that is at 900 Victory Highway, Unit 17 in Slatersville.
We have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Rudd?
Yes.
Ms. Hamilton?
Yes.
Mrs. O'Hara?
Yes.
Mr. Ogier?
Yes.
Ms. Alves?
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Have fun.
Discussion by council vote or other action on payment of bills. Anyone have any questions?
I do.
Go ahead.
The first one, the actual first one, is the first one. Valley Transportation Corporation, $840, DEC shopping.
Yeah, so that's the Valley Transportation. They take the seniors around, and then we submit that to DHS, and we get that reimbursed. So that's why it's in a, that's
So
why it's the
we're-
first item, because it's in an asset account.
So we're paying for it, but we'll get reimbursed for it?
Yep. Takes a little while, but we get it, you know. We get it
I
back.
wasn't aware that we even had that. Can you explain a little bit about that program? This is for the seniors?
Yeah, this is run through, I mean, Bobby usually oversees that, but yeah, it's for the seniors. They take them around, go shopping, get some walks, steps in. I'm not sure what they do, but I know where the money goes and when we receive it.
Okay, so
So.
do you know, do they pick people up at the independent living complexes or at home?
To be honest, I'm not sure where they pick them up.
Do you know,
Yeah.
Administrator?
They do, and if we're fortunate enough to get more funding, we may even be able to build individual residents, but right now, from economies of scale, that's exactly what we do.
Okay. Well, put your,
I'm sorry, what'd you say?
clear.
Yes, also the meadows and.
Yeah. That's been going on for quite a while.
Yes.
Doug, that's your job from now on.
I know.
Okay, great. All right, well, thank you very much. The
Yeah.
second one would be number 32, which is New England Mindfulness and Performance LLC for $750 in training.
Yeah, it's just part of the regular department training that the police does. I'm not sure if it's an annual training or if it was just this specific time, but it's part of their training that the police chief pushes out to all the, some of them are individualized, like if you see right above it, you can see Donovan and Ridge going, paying for their hotel, their stay to go for training.
Right.
Sometimes it's individualized, sometimes it's the department as a whole. This one's the department as a whole.
Okay. Okay, thank you. Number 67 on the next page, Chandler Associates, $850 new hire screening.
So that one's for psychosocial and psychological screening. That's something that we can do internally, so we have to outsource for it.
Is
For-
that for police as well?
That's just police, yeah.
This is just
Yeah.
police? Okay.
That's for a new hire.
Okay, thank you. And then the last two would be number 87 and 88 on the next page. United Electrical Contractors. It says propane generator and,
That's supposed to be natural gas, so that was for the purchase of the generators that that the chief had just presented to the council last meeting or the meeting before.
oh, this is
The
fire?
fire station.
Fire,
Fire?
yeah, yep. It was the purchase of them. I think it's, if I remember correctly, he said it's like a 7-month wait to receive them. So the other half of, I think the 120 grand is gonna be coming from servicing to install them. So half of it's to pay for them, the other half is to service and install. But we're gonna have to wait a while to receive them, unfortunately.
Okay, thank you, that's all I have.
Anybody else have any questions? Anyone make a motion to authorize the payment of bills?
I make a motion that we authorize payment of all bills.
Can, second for discussion?
Go ahead.
Is it possible to get a year-to-date where we are with these? If we keep paying bills $2 million, $2 million and change, where are we year-to-date?
In terms of how much, it's like bills that the
Yeah,
town
like
has
if there was
paid as a-
$100 in the budget and we've spent $50,
like a P&L?
we're halfway through.
Yeah, so I was supposed to provide the P&L for today, and I missed the deadline for the agenda, but I have it ready. So that's basically what you're asking, is the
Okay,
P&L.
yeah, so every
Yeah.
week, every time we have payment of bills, we should be able to see where we are in the budget to see if, you know,
That-
if something has not been spent.
That I can't provide. I would like to provide it, but due to reconciliations and deposits and things that might not come in, that's not something that I want to promise to the council that can be provided and it not be completely accurate.
Well,
I could do a P&L because a P&L, I usually have a 15-day, 30-day breather to be able to have Jerry Ann reconcile, have deposits come in. Those type of accounts can be accurate, whereas if I'm going month by month, I can do it, but it's not going to be, I don't think it's going to be, and that's a lot more work in my department that really can't handle that right now,
But
to be completely honest.
correct me if I'm wrong, Tony, usually the budget committee, usually around March and April, they'll start asking for that data monthly, at least against where the budget is, where they are in relation to the budget
We,
number. So, and we must be accruing some of those expenses if there's projects that we haven't been invoiced on, correct? So I don't think it needs to be perfect. I think, you know, at least, you know, I know most of the time it lags usually a month or something
Yeah,
like that.
yeah.
At least to just see
At
like,
least a
oh,
month.
we're at 90%, we have 6 months to go. We could be into a situation that,
I could see if Jerry Ann can spit out something similar to, something lateral to what she provides the departments when she sends out the monthly departmental expenditure report. I'll see if it's something, because I don't want to inundate our department any more than we already have when it comes to the payment of bills and how because anytime we have these, it gets very, like, to the minute when we have to send it to Joanne to put it on here, and I don't want anything else delaying our payment of bills than it already can. So I'm gonna
Well,
see what
see-
we can do. I don't wanna make any promises, but I have to
Well-
look into
Well,
seeing how we can do it.
I think at least if you could do it 2 months in the rear then, and then we know, okay, like, we have these expenses that are coming up that we just paid, and then you can always refresh it and send it out after the fact that we could then look at, and I guess if needed, it can then be put back on the next agenda.
I'll try and see if we can prepare something and see if it makes sense. And I see if it's on the next, second, 2 meetings from now, right?
Well,
So-
see, I get concerned because we're paying for today $2.7 million.
Well, cash flow isn't something, an issue of North Smithfield whatsoever. We've never had a cash flow issue
No,
here.
but we should know in the budget where we are. Now, if we've expended 25%, 32%, 100%, because that would bring it to our attention. We've already spent 100% in this budget line item. Why is that? So we need to have that information.
Yeah, but that's why I provide the quarterly P&L reports, though. That's what the quarterly P&L reports, and then, so now I'm doing, I might as well just do away with the P&L and just give you a monthly report, if that's the case. That's basically what I'm providing.
I think maybe.
It's redundant in
I think
in my opinion.
maybe keep the quarterly P&L, but then as you go through and start updating for the budget committee, like where we are each month as expenses come out, and so we can see, okay, I know that's normally a task they go through. Maybe just provide that information to the council, so then we can just at least see year to
Yeah,
date as we get
I
closer
get
to
the goal.
budget. Yeah.
Yeah, I want to be cooperative. It's just, I don't want to inundate my department and myself with any more things than we can do, and I don't want it to be inaccurate. So I want to see if I can do it, but I don't want to, make any promises of whether it can or can't be done. So I'm going to see if, for next council meeting, if I can provide that for you guys, if it's something that you guys like.
We need, not like.
Okay.
Okay, so I'll make a motion to make,
We already have
So we have a
one
motion,
discussion.
we
I'm
have a
sorry.
second. Can we just put in the record the total amount of bills is $2,711,765.42. All right, so we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Biragad.
Yes.
Ms. Hamilton.
yes.
Mrs. O'Hara.
Yes.
Mr. Ogier.
Yes.
Ms. Alves.
Yes. Discussion by council vote or other action on consent agenda. All items listed in this section are considered one motion. There will be no separate discussion of these items unless a council requests, in which the item will be removed from the consent agenda. A, town council minutes of December 7th and 18th of 2023, and then communications, Animal Control Monthly Report for December 2023, North Smithfield Municipal Court Monthly Report for December 2023, North Smithfield Police Department Monthly Report for December 2023, North Smithfield Fire and Rescue Monthly Report for December 2023, and North Smithfield Animal Report for December 2023. I'd like to remove the minutes of December 18th. Anyone else?
Madam President,
Mm-hmm.
I would like to remove the North Smithfield Municipal Court report
Okay.
dated January 2nd.
Anyone else? All right, anyone want to approve the consent agenda less those two items?
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda less those 2 items.
Second,
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Biragad.
Yes.
Ms. Hamilton.
yes.
Mrs. O'Hara.
Yes.
Mr. Ogier.
Yes.
Ms. Alves.
Yes. John, you want to go first?
Sure. Unless I've missed something over all this time, is that something new? If you look down on the, it says traffic citations issued, and then in parentheses under that, it says issued to North Smithfield residents. Is that something new?
I think it's been before.
Has it? I
Yeah.
think that's a bad
A
idea.
couple of times.
Do we really want to, I don't know.
Yeah, I
It
agree.
just doesn't seem like a great idea to say that we're whacking other people and not our residents, which is fine, but I'm just saying, I don't know if it's something that I would put out there like that.
Yeah.
It should be all-inclusive. Yeah. You agree?
So can we relay to the chief not to break that out? Okay. Is that it, Joe?
That's it. Thanks.
And then on the minutes of December 18th, on the second page, where it's right above where it's in bold a motion, and it says that I questioned a change pertaining. Do you see that part? So it's not water tanks, it was fuel tanks. And then also where it says Mr. Ogier stated any pre-existing, and that would change that to fuel tanks too, please. And then on the next page, when we're talking about the consent agenda, all the way down right above where motion is bolded, and it says, I asked a few questions about the expenditures and revenues. And then I also request a summary sheet be included in the future. And then could you just make a note, and Tony actually said it tonight, that he, the finance director said he would provide that by the end of January for us, for the second quarter. That's all I have. Anyone else? No?
Madam President,
Yep.
for council's consideration, when we talk about December 18th and in the attendance, my name is conspicuously absent. I would like to go on record, and hopefully they can change the minutes to say that Town Administrator Walensky was diagnosed by a physician as having COVID. Okay, because I do take my attendance seriously.
Shouldn't we just say sick rather than, because that's HIPAA, like, shouldn't we just say that?
As long as it's, you know, well, I just want to make sure that people didn't think I was missing in action. Thank you.
Yeah. Is that all set, Joanne? Okay. All right, anyone want to make a motion to approve those two items as amended?
I'll make a motion to approve those two items as amended.
And we have a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Biragad.
Yes.
Ms. Hamilton.
Yes.
Mrs. O'Hara.
Yes.
Mr. Ogier.
Yes.
Ms. Alves.
Yes. Old business discussion by council vote or other action on status/progress report on completion of specific items. The first one is the facility manager.
None at this time.
Okay. Grants.
Yes, there was no inclusion into your packet. I must say that I think the last date was January 2nd, in which we talked about, after coming out of the committee, about having the wetlands done. Well, we were contacted late Friday afternoon after time to actually put it into the packet to say that the survey was done prior to storm. So that has been performed. We're awaiting the results. So it's a verbal update, not enough time to put it into the packet.
Could we have something going forward, though, even if there's no update? Can we just have something in the packet?
Excuse me, Alexa's talking to me. Have no reason. Again, sorry, could you repeat that?
Could you put something in the packet, even though there's no update?
It's off. Yeah, we'll just say no update. Would that suffice?
Well, just have the one from the previous week and just make a note, no update, just so we have it.
Sure.
Thank you.
Can I
Thanks.
ask a quick question?
Yeah?
Administrator, what's the status on the new grant company? Are they actively seeking things out? Should we, I mean, is there any introduction that we can
Well,
have?
there's been a lot of going back and forth with Council President Alves, myself, Finance Director, people that are involved, and I think we're looking for February 26th for them to come on site and visit
Okay.
with us
Okay,
and to
good.
talk to staff, and they shall get to know, because there is a lot of grants that we should be chasing and
Mhm.
pursuing, so.
So they're not waiting for that time to come introduce themselves, they're actively seeking out things at this point?
They have mentioned,
Okay.
yeah, they gave a mention of a grant, but of course, I think council's taken over the whole grant application procedure, so it should probably come through town council president to you. I'm getting the feeling that I'm kind of out of the picture on this, so I'd be happy to
I don't
facilitate.
understand.
You
I
don't
don't-
understand?
No.
Oh, well, millions of dollars of grants were applied for prior to this current council applying for, applying to run for council. And it appears to me, correct me if I'm wrong, that this council wants to take control because I have to tell you, I have not been in the driver's seat on these grants. Be happy to relinquish it over to the council if they want to do it. So what's happening is, actually, I think February 26th is too far off, but that's not my decision.
Can I?
Yeah, go ahead.
Totally blown away.
I actually don't think the council should be the one that spearheads the whole thing. I think it should be collaborative. I think we need the administration just as much as you would need us to approve any matching grants and stuff like that. And so maybe it would be good to, I'm not going to suggest have a separate meeting, but at one of our next meetings, maybe talk about what does that structure look like? Because I think, you know, you lead in the town staff and, you know, the departments and stuff like that. You're going to know more day-to-day stuff than we will know. We're not here to manage the day-to-day. But I do think there is value to having council input into the process. So I think there's a way for us to work together on this. I don't think, at least I know personally, I don't think, I can only speak for myself, but I don't think that the council should be the one running the whole process. But that's just me.
Right.
If I may, during the whole grant discussion back in March, the council made it very clear that they didn't want any grants being just done willy-nilly. I think something like that was said, and that the grants, if the council wanted to be aware of any grants, just in case there were any matching that went along with it. So I tend to agree with the administrator. It seemed to me at that point that the council kind of took over the responsibility of overseeing the grants at that point.
I don't think so.
No, I just think, like I said, I think there's a way to work collaboratively. I think before we commit to a grant that could have, like, say, what if it was $1 million match and we didn't have it in the budget? I think that's just the only thing where I think then there needs to be a conversation. And, you know, I know grants pop up last minute, so I think the process definitely can improve. I think that's where some of that conversation went. But yeah, I think, I mean, I don't want to rehash the past. I think it just needs to be communication on both sides, and like I said, I think there's a way for us to work together on it.
I think the administration, myself, we would appreciate that.
Yeah.
Thank you, Councilor.
Is that it?
Well, so, just for my edification, do you feel more comfortable taking over the reins? The only time you would need to get in touch with us is if there's a match?
Well, of course, I think the communication lines have to be expanded. And I certainly will. I'll go through the council president and vice president, limiting to those two, because I'm very cognizant of open meetings, and this is not scheduling. This is about operations within the town. So if council wants to come up with 2 contact people, be more than happy, as will the administrative team, to work with you. So whomever that would be. But I have to say, communication has to be widened.
And I think that should go on both sides.
I agree.
Okay, thank
let's agree to end this.
you. Yep. The next one is Hollowell Review Committee, update on demolition.
Good evening. Need a new microphone. 2 to 3 weeks, they should be complete.
Can I ask a question? So the other day I was driving around with my wife, and you know, I know this was a little bit before the pre-demolition, but it's amazing to me how that is not secured, like that property. Is it normal for it not to be secured? Or I've heard other people say to me, like, they've just, even after the demolition site, they've been able to just to drive right on in. It just seems like we may want to put up some type of temporary.
Going back a previous administration, it was suggested to fence off that area, and that was denied for funding.
Okay.
But
So
now there
something we
is-
can look
So
into.
now we have a bigger issue. Once this project hit the papers last week, we had every person with a pickup truck down there Sunday, I believe it was, trying to take all the scrap, which is part of the price of the demolition. So now it is secured. No one can get in there.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
because several people were going to be charged with larceny at that point. So,
Thanks for the update.
you're welcome.
All right, do you want to, you want to do your other two items while you're, well, I guess you would probably be
yeah.
addressing the ones with John, so entrance to Pacheco Park.
Remember we discussed that a while ago? Is there any way we can get that going? Maybe at least start applying for a license to cut into the sidewalk and things like that, or?
Once again, we have no funding. All we have is the $39,000, which is the remaining amount from the sale of the house. But in light of the possibility of moving the multi-generational facility back to Scouters, myself and the planner have discussed this in length, and we feel that we might be able to grab some of the money if we don't use the whole $4 million for the building, which I'm kind of confident that we're not going to use that whole $4 million. I firmly believe it should come back to Scouters. That should be the place where it should go. And I think that with that, we'll be able to use the soft cost money for engineering for the entrance, which has to be approved by DOT, and then we can move forward on that project. It has dragged along, but it has purposely been dragged along in this past month or past 6 months because of the Scouters Hall situation.
Okay.
So I think once that report comes in and we kind of have a feel if we're going to stay at Hallowell or come back, I think that then we can move forward on that entrance.
So if we get approval by DOT to cut into the curb, and yes, that's a requirement, we gotta do all that. That takes a little while.
Right.
Can we get that? Now, once you get approved on that, how is that good for, like?
That process could take 6 months to a year.
Right.
Now, with that, engineering is not just cutting into the curb. MS4 requirements for drainage, flow. You're dealing with a state road, state sidewalks, state crossing into the library. There's a lot that goes into that, so there's going to be a big issue with the engineering cost.
And all that has to be documented on your application to the state?
Yes.
Okay.
In addition, the reason we like to hold back a little bit before we proceed with that, RFPs for engineering, is also to, we can use some of the soft costs, possibly, of the multi, or at least pay for it and then get reimbursed through that once that process is approved.
Okay.
It's kind of like all over the place, but I think within a month or two, with the results of what we're doing on the other end, I think we might be able to kind of bring this together quicker. If we don't have funds at the end, then we have to find another source of funding. But at least we can get the project going and get it engineered and at least get it moving in that direction.
So somebody mentioned, I forget, I can't place it, but somebody mentioned to me when we were talking about this recently, there was a grant for that, but that's not the case, right? There's no grant to,
No, that grant was denied.
no, okay, all right. Must be what they
Back
were
in
thinking.
2018, I believe.
All right.
No, if I remember correctly, there was a possibility about streetscape improvement grants. And I think we focused up around Slater's Plaza, up on Route 102. But that's come and gone.
Okay,
But that was months ago.
all right.
But that wasn't the entrance to Pacheco Park.
Okay, that had nothing to do with Pacheco?
No.
All right. Then, the other thing, that a question I had since you're up there is, remember a while ago we talked, there was some vandalism that went, some kids carved some anti-Semitic
Yep.
stuff into the,
Yep.
and then everybody, we had to get cameras. Anything on that?
Yes. We actually are sitting on an estimate right now for $11,000 to $12,000 for the installation of wireless cameras down there. The big holdup with the cameras was we have no Wi-Fi down at Scouters or at that whole complex. So therefore, you can't put wireless cameras down there. Now that the pizza place cut all the trees away, we now have a direct shot from the old town hall where we can use our Wi-Fi into Scouters, finally bring Wi-Fi to Scouters, which is long overdue, and then we'd be able to move the cameras down. So we're going to update the quotes that we have, and I'd like to get that done sooner than later. I'm also putting in addition to Pacheco Park, Paul Kelly Complex, and NSES for cameras. I think it's long overdue surveillance cameras in all of our facilities. It's just a matter of time before something happens at any of those facilities. So once we start getting 3 quotes, and then I can kind of figure out how we're going to do this, which also could fall into that money at Pacheco Park also. So I actually have a meeting tomorrow night with members of the Little League Executive Board. There's some, I'm fortunate to be sitting on a little bit of money because of a situation last year, reserve money that I am going to spend on facility upgrades, which I really don't want to discuss tonight. But in fairness to the Little League, we're trying to move forward on some corrections at Pacheco, at Paul Kelly Complex, and NSES. So I'm trying to squeeze the most out of the few funds I do have right now.
All right, thank you.
So the 11,000 or whatever, you know, where you have to get another quote to make sure it's still an adequate quote, was that just for Pacheco?
That was just Pacheco.
Okay, all right. Okay, good. All right,
So and that was last year, so I want to update
Right.
and get a couple more quotes, and then we can at least have an educated conversation about this.
good. That's great. Thank you.
What's the, with getting cameras down there, can't those be vandalized too? I mean, I'm
Yes.
just asking.
But a perfect example is the archaic cameras that we have underneath the concession stand. It wasn't funny, actually, it was kind of sad. The person who beat the hell out of the camera was already filmed. So we actually sat there and watched him beat the camera up.
So it records.
It already recorded it, so they can, and they come where they're not, they tamper-proof and all that good stuff, but we already have them on camera, as we did at Hallowell, when we had cameras at Hallowell, when they broke out the windows and destroyed the principal's office. So, we don't like to put all these secrets out, as press puts all this stuff out, and then we have what situation we have now at Hallowell. Sometimes the press works against us and things like that.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Did you have anything else on, or you all set? The next one was Human Resource Manager. There's no update on that. And then Municipal Building Review Task Force, payment to Dubon Masonry and Construction, AIA document G702, application number 2. This was one of a payment for some of the roof work and some of the interior and exterior work that was approved. So Rebecca had sent this this invoice in for $130,526. So we just need to approve that for payment to Dubon.
I'll make a motion to approve the invoice AIA document G702 in the amount of $130,526 to Dubon Masonry and Construction.
That's a motion. Is there a second?
Madam President,
Yeah?
I just want to draw your attention, there seems to be a conflict in the AI document. On the invoice, it's G703, and on our agenda, it's G702. So we might want to try to just clear that up
I have G702
I have 702
on the agenda, correct?
No,
on both.
on both.
Mine says G703.
Oh, on the back, yours says
Oh,
703.
there is one spot, yeah, I see it. Is it the sheet with the, like the
On the
Excel
back.
breakout?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. So we just want to, so what number is applicable?
say G702,
Okay.
$130,526.
Yeah, all right. I just wanted to make sure that everybody was aware of it.
Do we want to do pending like, just have like a second check, if we can approve it pending?
Yeah, I can email her tomorrow and have her confirm it, and then have Tony, have you copied on it?
Yeah, just have them send me the invoice.
I'm sorry?
Just have them send me whatever the correct invoice is.
Okay. All right, so anyone want to approve?
I made a motion.
Oh, you made a motion, and you seconded?
Yeah, there was
Okay.
discussion.
Any other discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Biragad.
Yes.
Ms. Hamilton.
Yes.
Mrs. O'Hara. Mr. Ogier.
Yes.
Ms. Alves.
Yes. And the last one is the town website?
Yeah, so last week, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, right, Tony? There was all-day training for town staff. Process seemed to go pretty well. So there'll be a follow-up training sometime in February, I believe, if I remember correctly. And then the proposed launch date is still sometime towards the end of February as well. I don't know if Tony had anything he wanted to add, but it's moving along.
I need the list of beta participants for the website. I had sent out an email a while back about the alpha testing and who's on there. I need a list sent to me for all the beta testers so I can start that.
Do you have the 2 I gave you, Tony?
Yeah. Could you resend it to me?
I'll send it to you.
I'm sure I have it.
It's okay.
I just
I know
wanna-
you're busy. I'll
yeah.
resend it to you.
Yeah, if you could.
Is that it?
Yeah, that's it. It's a quick update.
New business, discussion by council vote or other action on abatements. Ms. St. George? Yeah, what else that?
Hi. So I just have abatements tonight in the amount of $239.87.
Jen, I just have a question on the bottom with the abatement totals.
Yep.
And then the supplements, and then the used. Where is that coming from?
So it starts, our new year starts July 1st.
Yep.
So from then to now, that's what I used. So I have it, like, my abatements, I minus my supplementals. So I've only used the amount we put aside out of mine. I think it's like 50,000 or 150,000 on a reval year. I've only used $3,290.10.
$23.90.
Yeah,
So
sorry.
that's all that we've had in abatements. Okay,
The total abatements is the 59,323.32.
yeah,
But because I've been supplementing, I subtracted my supplementals because it weighs it out.
okay,
So I've only used $2,390.10
okay.
of, I believe, the 50,000 we put aside each year.
Okay.
Okay, I'll make a motion to approve the abatements in the amount of $239.87.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Biragad.
Yes.
Ms. Hamilton.
Yes.
Mrs. O'Hara.
Yes.
Mr. Ogier.
Yes.
Ms. Alves.
Yes. Is that all you have tonight?
Yeah,
Yeah,
and-
so you're all set.
Okay, unless you have questions for me regarding the penalties on tangibles?
Are you handling penalties, or, yeah?
No, well, the finance director and MJ handle it, but
Okay.
I know last time you had questions, you wanted me and MJ here.
Okay, so this one is discussion by council vote or other action on penalties / tax adjustments. So, going back to this first one that's on the list, have we checked to see if there's any way we can put a lien on any of the property or equipment that is there?
So that would be, I believe it would be up to the finance director, or the tax collector. A lot of these questions are for MJ. I don't want to speak for her. I know one of the questions was, why we haven't been collecting them. And I know that prior to Cynthia, the finance director, they weren't allowed to go and try to collect on uncollectibles that we haven't been getting collected on. Then Cynthia started to go back and we got a collection agency, and that's why they're all coming up now. So that's the only thing I really know about it. I put the value on the tangibles, well, not prior to me being here, but now I put the values on the tangibles, but she collects them.
So, okay, Tony, so now to you. So is there any way, because this property is still there and there's still equipment on that site, is there any way that we can research this and see if we can put a lien onto any of the equipment, or a tax sale, or?
Yeah, I can look into putting a lien. I'm just not sure. I don't know what we're gonna be able to collect. They owe state and federal. We're the last to be able to get money from them.
All right, but we can get on the list, right?
Hmm?
Okay.
So, may I ask, is that building being used at all? Do you
Not
know?
that I know of. I don't think. MJ had told me that I think his son but under a different name is now running like basically the same business, but I don't think the building is being used. At least it doesn't, when I drive by it, it doesn't look like it.
If I could, I mentioned before that my car was over there because North Smithfield Auto seems to be using some of the property to store their vehicles. And originally, I thought there was no equipment over there because I wasn't really paying attention. But when I went back the other day, there is equipment over there.
Yeah.
It's out to the, looking at the building, it's to the right side of the building in the rear.
Yeah, it's quite a bit, yeah.
Yeah, so, I mean, we don't have to reinvent the wheel. Other towns doing this too. We just gotta find out what they're doing. You know what I mean? We don't have to come up with anything new. We just gotta find out what other people are doing in order to get their taxes.
Yeah, it's just more of, the amount that we would, I mean, like I said, we could put a lien on it or whatever. We can look into whatever recourse we might want to take. But it's just more of the amount that we would pay to chase these people. We might not recoup anything. We might just be like, haha, we got money from you.
Well, do you
And we didn't get
think,
much.
yeah, do you think the tax collector would have a better handle on this? Because it's
She knows
unfortunate
the
she couldn't come, so I think we
yeah,
should wait. till
Yeah,
we
she
hear
knows the
from her.
process. I just know the ends, you know, I just, here's the finished product. That's what that's how I understand.
Yeah.
But she knows the ins and outs.
Right, yeah.
I
Tony,
did
I don't
ask for
disagree
her to
with
be
you that
very-
often, but 10% of something's better than 100%
Right,
of
I mean,
nothing.
This is quite
I
a bit of
won't,
money here.
I won't deny that. Yeah, I mean, well, no matter what, it's 20 grand that we're, the 10 years is 20 grand.
Yeah,
That's what we would be allowed to collect. So, regardless, I'll look into, what we can do, and then I'll still see if MJ can come, weather permitting, for next meeting.
okay.
I think the issue, I'm not speaking for her, but I think the issue is we're gonna, because it's so old and this company owes so much to state and federal, that we're gonna spend money to try to collect this money and never see it. I think that was the issue.
That's why I
I
was
still
saying
think
it's,
we have to try.
we can try, but again, that's why I'm saying it's just like, haha, we got,
Well, the collectors work on a percentage basis,
Yeah, that's how they work.
right? So it wouldn't really
Yeah.
cost us
We
anything,
have a
would it?
collection agency?
We did in
yeah,
the past.
MCA. Yeah,
Is it still Mr. Rossi?
No, it's MCA, right?
I think it's Rossi, yeah, well, yeah, MCA, not, we use Municipal Collection Agency.
Oh.
Rossi, I don't know who that is.
Because I remember one of the years I was on the budget committee, Cynthia had mentioned that they did put liens and other stuff for back taxes. So I agree. I think we should at least try.
Right.
Yeah,
I don't
and
want to set a
I
precedent
think
that.
I'm going to vote to hold off on this
Yeah.
until we have MJ come to us and explain what cannot be done and how ineffective or effective or costly it could be. So that would be my vote.
All right, anyone else have any more questions? Anyone want to make a motion? Was that your motion?
Oh, that would be my motion. That would be I can make it an official motion. I'd like
Okay.
to make a motion to hold the penalty adjustments until the tax collector can come to the council meeting.
That's a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? And Tony, can we just correct the date at the top? I know we keep bringing that up. So we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Biragad.
Yes.
Ms. Hamilton.
Yes.
Mrs. O'Hara.
Yes.
Mr. Ogier.
Yes.
Ms. Alves.
Yes. Discussion by council vote or other action on award of bid for North Smithfield School generator. Mr. St. Ange.
So this is, we're dealing with this because it's out of the revolving fund, obviously. So they went out to bid. They picked the lowest bidder, Commercial Electric. And what they provided, or what Alan had provided for the contract is provided in your packet. The only information I don't have is how long it's going to take to get the generator. I had forgotten to ask Alan that, but regardless, it's in process.
Okay.
So am I, the next thing?
So who is the company,
Yeah.
who is
What
this
is
company?
this?
Studio,
Studio Jade is it's kind of like their Tecton for our
oh,
same
okay.
thing. They handle, the engineering, the write-ups, everything like that.
Okay,
Yeah. They use them pretty often. They're pretty, from what I understand, they're pretty good with what they do.
okay.
I think we've used them too, through the town. I think it's probably on DPW's side. Don't quote me on that, but.
What are you looking for?
I think I'm looking for what we're talking about.
Yeah, that right here.
Is this it?
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right. Anyone have any questions? Any further questions? Anyone like to make a motion?
Make a motion to approve Commercial Electric Incorporated in the amount of $265,440 for generators for North Smithfield, ES generator. Is it one generator?
Yeah, it's NSES.
Just one generator? It's a big generator. Okay,
For the
that's
high
it.
school, right?
$265,440, commercial electric was the lowest bidder, and we're recommending that we go with that bid award.
We have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Biragad.
Yes.
Ms. Hamilton.
Yes.
Mrs. O'Hara.
Yes.
Mr. Ogier.
Yes.
Ms. Alves.
Yes. Discussion by council vote or other action on approval of the Town of North Smithfield's gas rate contract. Mr. St. Ange.
So, Kim and you and I discussed this a while back, about locking in a rate for the gas prices. So what you have here is the last contract. We do this every year. This is the last contract that we signed. I can't give you a blank one because the rate that we lock in has to be done that day by 3 p.m. So what I'd be looking for is the council to approve the administrator to allow him to sign a contract for the town for a certain gas price whenever we deem it a good price. I have at the very last page a running the rates that she's provided me since she started providing them to me, and they fluctuate. I was on a little bit of a down tick for a little bit, and now it's on an uptick again, so I want to get this done before it goes back up.
Are you doing this for 12 or 18 months?
It's whatever the council decides. I would say 12, you never know, but
What is the rate we have? What was our last rate on the last bill?
6.33. That's the contracted rate that we have. I think it's up until March.
Yes.
Yep.
April 30th?
Yeah, yeah. And we usually lock in around, like I said, like late December, January is when we, historically speaking.
Has she given you, the last one was 1.8, has she given you any updates since then?
She gave me another one today, actually, and it went up. Give me 2 seconds to pull this up. Yeah, so today was 6.27, and then, yeah, that's the latest one, 6.27. So
And
it's
that's for 12 months?
that would be for 12 months, and then 18 months would be 6.77. So, yeah, just be looking to have have council allow the administrator to lock us into a rate so that I can, if we see a good price, execute that day.
Okay. Anyone have any questions?
So the 6.27 as of today could be 6.28 tomorrow by 3 p.m.?
Yeah, or it could be less, it could be more.
less.
Mm-hmm. It fluctuates.
Are you planning on taking advantage of something in the same range that we're already locked into so that we don't
Lower,
run-
preferably.
Well, yeah, but
Yeah.
at least so that we're not running the risk that, as you see it creeping up slowly, that if we waited another 2 or 3.
If I see it reach, at the very least, I'm gonna have us lock into something at or lower. So, I doubt, I don't see it going up higher than what we had, but I'm gonna get her opinion and we'll go from there, see what her timeline is of what she foresees, where the rate going, and then we'll go from there. But no matter what, if we go higher, I would let the council know beforehand, or after, I guess.
All right, anyone want to make a motion to authorize the administrator to sign the agreement?
For 12 months?
Yes.
I'll make that motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Biragad.
Yes.
Ms. Hamilton.
Yes.
Mrs. O'Hara.
Yes.
Mr. Ogier.
Yes.
Ms. Alves.
Yes. Discussion by council vote or other action on resolution establishing the Groundwater Protection Committee, the GPC. Mr. Ogier?
Yeah, so, sorry about that. So essentially, this is, it's in your packet. Everyone probably had a chance to already look over it, so I'll keep it simple. This is essentially just looking to rename the existing Water Supply Committee now that other work has been done, and it would be retasking them to focus more on education. Just so the members at home can see, it's just educate all age groups and stakeholders, residential and business, about the importance of drinking and protecting water resource, promoting public interest in the understanding of groundwater protection, for advisory capacity to the council. And so it's really also the purpose of the education is to also focus on the grant that the group had received to really just continue that educational work that they want to focus on. So like I said, it's really just more of a renaming, and talks with the solicitor, we felt this was the cleanest way to go instead of just revising the existing resolution.
So by just renaming it, now these members that are listed here, do they just carry over who's on, or do we have to reappoint them?
Yeah, so the order of the agenda got, I think, a little bit swapped around in terms of item F and G. So because we're really just renaming, I would ask that the council just, because we already had those people apply and are a part of the existing committee, just transfer their membership over, their appointments over to this committee. And then, if somebody decides they don't want to serve at any point in the future, just like we have any other committee, applications can go out, et cetera.
I would like to ask this question. Can two members of the same family serve on the same committee?
Why not?
It's
I
happened
have been told it's
before, and
not.
I thought, because
As long as they don't violate open meeting.
it wouldn't be maybe a diversity of opinion, and thank God you don't have 6 people in one family, and you'd have it made. But on a more serious note, it could make a difference in a vote. You don't see 2 people living in the same household making different decisions often. So I'm just thinking, because I'm seeing it more and more.
So I can only speak for this committee. I know that, I know the example you're talking about. There was no ethics issues or concerns about that. And like I said, this is just an advisory group to the council. There is no authority, there's no decision-making, there's none of that. It's the real focus is gonna be on, how do we educate homeowners that have wells about, some of the materials that can impact their wells, and, how often should you get well testing, and are there any grants to help assist with maybe testing of wells, and how do we engage with the business community, to address any concerns that the resident side may have. And so some of the things that came up, in our last few months of discussion, it's kind of going to be just, like I said, that focus on education. So there's really no legislative or anything like that. And the group is pretty diverse in its thinking. It's each person does speak their own mind, just so everyone knows.
Doug?
Thank you.
May I speak? I actually like this, what you're doing here, but just a couple. I do. In principle, I like it, but I like the whole education aspect of it. It's very important. I think that's great. But if you look at C on here, this is whereas, but it's also on the back in section 2, number 3. Acting in an advisory capacity to the town council in matters related to groundwater. The problem with that is, admittedly, you don't have any experts on groundwater on that committee. So how, and what, how are they gonna act as an advisor, in an advisory capacity on groundwater when nobody on that committee is an expert? So I like the education part, but personally, I don't like that part, because honestly, there was a couple of things in that last ordinance that they agreed, that they wanted, that went through, that I don't think were that great for the town. And now we're gonna keep them on as an advisory capacity when nobody in there is an expert on groundwater.
Can we get Gary?
Yeah, so the advisory piece is not legislative, not what we just went through. You know, that was a separate process that it was, we all know, it's, you know, it's well discussed. I'm not gonna bring up the history of the last few months. But the advisory capacity here is, you know, maybe is working with, like, you know, DEM, which, you know, it states in our comp plan that, you know, we want to have a better relationship with DEM from a communicative and, you know, et cetera, focus. You know, working with EPA, identifying other experts and resources in the state, but also to, you know, working with, you know, departments, you know, reaching out to departments in town to see how can they help, you know, maybe reach out, whether it's, you know, some type of campaign or something like that as it relates to, you know, I know there's like awareness months and stuff like that. So those types of things. It's not saying that, you know, 619 needs to be looked at again or stuff like that. It doesn't mean that that may not come up in the future, but if that is a recommendation that ever came up or anything like that, just to kind of speak to your question, Councilor Beauregard, it would be up to the council to decide, is this group even, do you even want that group to go down that path again?
Right.
That's where the control will still sit at the council level. And so that's kind of,
That's
just
right.
keep it short.
May-
Yeah, that's fine.
So I was just going to say, it does say that GPC with prior town council approval may be aided by the assistance of a consultant, so I don't know, does that make
I
it
think-
less, you know?
I think, you know, if we were to go down a point of looking at, like, if any of those legislative concerns came up as it related to an ordinance, I think it would be that the group would say, or a group, any group, could say, you know, it would benefit the council to hire an engineer with a focus on this, or seek some external expert to help draft the ordinance in relation with the council, the planner, et cetera.
So the council would have.
The council would still
final-
control
That's what we
the
did
cost.
also with the last committee as well. They were just an advisory committee.
Yeah, they offered inputs, but we ultimately decided
Right.
if we were moving forward with the ordinance or not, so.
Which brings me to my other issue. Why would we, why limit ourselves when, there could be some experts out there and some residents out there that would like to be part of this committee, and we only have one at large? Shouldn't we, I'm thinking, let's open it up. Why have a requirement of having one planning board member, one zoning board member, one conservation member? Let's open it up to the whole town to be able to sit on this committee. I understand the council position, and I think that's great that you'd be on there, but why limit ourselves to the planning board, zoning board, conservation commission? Let's open it up to the whole town, and those people can apply as well. But who knows, there might be an expert out there that decides that they'd like to be part of this, and it won't be locked out now. Inclusiveness.
This is the new 2024.
Inclusiveness, that's a good one.
If the council wishes to look at membership at some point, I think the council can do that at any point. I can only speak for myself. I know that the group has done a lot of work in already laying the foundation for what education looks like, at least in terms of the grant that's currently ongoing, and I would hate to see that progress lost. That, you know, that grant has, you know, it does expire at some point. I can't remember the date off the top of my head. And I would hate to see that opportunity lost. I'm not disagreeing that, you know, it always benefits, and if people want to apply, it doesn't mean that they can't apply, and the clerk can hold on to their application, so if somebody decides to step down. But that's where the membership came from, it was literally just rechanging the name, and in hindsight, I like the name, it probably should have been the name from the beginning. But that's kind of where the thought process was on that.
Then maybe make it 7 members, and let's, I just want to give more people the opportunity to
I'm
get
fine if the council wants to add, you know, an additional member or two and make one of them an alternate or something from the public. I don't disagree at all. I just know that the main membership, I think I would like
That's
to at
fine,
least keep
but I'd like
on.
to see more people have an opportunity to
I'm
participate.
fine if the council wants to add a couple extra people, because I do know that sometimes, we were meeting pretty frequently, so, attendance, we always had quorum, but, it's always good to have some backups. So if the council wants to add a couple extra members, as an alternate, I don't have any problem with that at all. Fine with that. Just tell me how many.
Can I make a motion to amend your ordinance to add one alternate, which would be a member of the town, a resident
Member
of
the
North
public?
Smithfield at large?
Would you need two to
Two?
make it odd?
What is 5?
Yeah, so
Right.
2, so we'll do 2.
Well, an alternate would, no, you normally.
We do 2 alternates, that's fine.
All right.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, I'll second that.
And so this would actually, they would actually expire in just November 30th anyway, right?
Yeah,
This-
it's coterminous.
this- Okay.
And it's also the whole town.
Right.
Not 619 is, the aquifer area is identified here, but as some of those discussions came out, focus would be on the whole town.
Right. And you already have the grant, and you already
Yep.
can start the process and work, okay?
All right, so we have a motion to add 2 alternates
In a second.
2.
and a second? Okay. And are they going to be just
Yeah, just
members of the
Members
public?
of, yeah,
Okay.
Yeah.
so they'll apply, so we can figure out that process.
Something wrong, David?
David's thinking.
I think, so we're gonna add a paragraph F, 2 alternate members of the public shall be appointed by the council.
Yep.
And,
As in,
I wanna make some comment about when they actually sit, they're gonna sit in the order of, have to be alternate 1,
like
alternate
alternate 1,
2.
yeah, I would say just do something similar to what we've done.
So it'll have to
planning
be
or something.
alternate 1 will serve when there's a vacancy or
Yep.
absent, and alternate 2.
That makes sense.
That makes sense?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Something to that
So
effect.
Do we
add
need to
F.
wait for a revision, or can we do it
I
tonight?
think we should say, maybe we're gonna have to do F, we can do that, or we can say F will be, a first alternate member to be appointed by the council, and a second, then G, a second alternate member to be appointed. So first alternate, second alternate.
Right,
Right.
that sounds fine.
That's
Yeah,
That's my thought process, unless you wanna wait. Okay,
no, I
so-
think it works.
So F would be a,
First alternate.
first alternate member of the public shall be appointed by the town council. And then G would be a second alternate member shall be appointed by the town council. And the reason why we're doing that is because they will serve in the order
Right.
as for quorum purposes. Even though this is advisory,
Yeah, we still adhere to the
You
open
still
meeting
wanna
and
do
all
that.
that stuff, yep.
I don't know if the clerk has got that or not. So F would be, the amendment, there were 2 amendments, right? The amendment, it's 1 amendment involving 2 sentences, right?
So this is-
Paragraph F,
this is one more.
a first alternate member of the public shall be appointed by the town council. And then paragraph G would be a second alternate member of the public shall be appointed by the town council.
Yep.
So that would be the substance of this,
That section.
or of this amendment that passes. Then you make a motion to approve as amended.
Yep.
And then you could get to the next agenda item, appoint the people that are in existence, and then advertise for the alternates. I don't know if that's,
Yeah,
Fine.
that's fine, that works.
That's a motion.
so do you have those 2 sentences clear, Madam Clerk?
Yep.
So I guess then there would be a motion to.
So I think John just said motion, so I'll
Motion
second.
has been made as to those 2 sentences amendment, and there's a second needed.
Second.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second.
Yes.
Any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Biragad,
And if I said no. Yes.
Ms. Hamilton,
It's the new John. Yes.
Mrs. O'Hara,
Yes.
Mr. Ogier?
Yes.
Ms. Alves?
Yes. So do we even have to talk about G since we,
I would do G before you dissolve the other committee.
So just appoint
Appoint, my
the
understanding
existing
is-
water supply
My
members.
understanding, the Vice President wanted to appoint the existing members
okay,
because that committee is going, their purpose is no longer of any value, and that committee needs to be dissolved.
okay. So G, discussion by council vote or other action on appointments to the Groundwater Protection Committee, GPC, Mr. Ogier.
So I just, like we just said, I want to just appoint the members of the existing water supply committee into the newly formed groundwater protection committee.
And can you just go through their names and where they serve?
Myself as town council, Gary Pilati as the planning board, Gail as zoning, Robert Gillette as the conservation commission, and Leanne Gillette as a member of the public. And then we also have Cynthia Roberts as well. I think we're missing somebody here. She's
Is that
also,
planning? Oh, that's,
no, she was a member of the public.
Did you have 6 in the other committee?
I think we had 6.
I remember
Did we
Gary
miss one?
Pilati.
This is planning, Councilor. Dr. Roberts is on the planning board, it's an alternate.
Yeah, but she wasn't at the
That's
time
two.
when this formed, yeah, so.
Did you have 6 members on the
We
other
did,
committee?
yeah. We had 7, but we lost
And,
one.
Gail Burlinghoff has stepped down for zoning. She's on the Economic Development Commission.
Okay.
So would you, we're getting a little,
I don't know, it's getting
we're getting the record a little confused. So would Cynthia Roberts be the first alternate?
I guess, yeah.
Well,
I guess, yeah,
It's
if
your
we're working off
committee.
this membership, yeah.
that would be 6, and then you'd still have 1 more spot to fill.
well, 2, right? Because
That wasn't the intent.
Yeah,
Well, it's only a, I don't think anything's been passed yet, so if you want to think this out.
do you want me to do you want us to reconsider the first motion and you and I can get the membership piece down?
I think we should.
At least make sure we're matched with what we had. Okay. We'll do that.
So is the intent to have 2, I mean, I'm just going to caution the council, I'm sure if you have 6, I'm sure I cautioned you then, and I'll caution you again.
We had 7, but it was a member of
Okay.
the land trust.
I would
and-
never have an even number on any committee, advisory or otherwise.
No, there was
because-
7. One was an alternate
Okay.
from the land trust. And then,
So
We're
that
down to
means
6
if
now.
you're gonna have 7, then in order to satisfy Councilman Beauregard's concern, you're gonna have to make this 9. And this, we only had it listed as 5.
okay, yeah, I know what you're saying. I think we should come back to the next meeting and get
Okay.
the membership clear. I don't want to confuse Joanne. She's looking at
Well,
me.
I didn't-
Yeah. No, let's take the time. Yeah, I know who's on the committee, but I want to make sure it's done cleanly.
I think that maybe you should just continue item E,
F and G.
E, F, and G. Well, yeah, you can do all 3 till next
Rescind the
meeting.
motion?
I would withdraw the motion.
Yeah.
Withdraw the motion, sir.
No,
We have to
E needs
retweak
to be
it.
corrected. Has E been passed? I don't
We
think it's
did
been
pass
passed.
the motion.
Did you?
Yeah. So we can just reconsider it, though.
How did you, I'm sorry, I'm confused. I thought that there was a motion to amend pending. How could the resolution have passed without before the motion amend? It passed?
I think John motioned your words, David. So if
And,
your words were only on the language and not the actual
Okay.
resolution,
I
then the
thought that was
resolution
only the
didn't
amendment.
pass.
I would just ask you to withdraw both motions. There should have been 2. There should have been a motion to amend, main motion, then a motion to amend. I thought the motion.
No, there was only one motion.
All right, so my motion was based on the fact that this right here, this ordinance says 5 people, and I wanted to add 2 for a total of 7. I don't want to add 2 for a total of 9, that's silly. That's just too many people on the committee. So we have the 5, and I just wanted to add 2 at large. That was the motion.
I get it, but I guess the confusion is the vice president wants the same 7 members to be on the committee, and you want 2 new people. And
No.
we thought this committee, I thought, at least when I drafted, there were 5 members.
Me
'Cause
too.
that's the way I was, this
That's
was
the way it
presented
reads
to me.
right here.
I didn't know that there were 7. I wasn't, I just generated this committee
Yeah, I
and
read it too
submitted it.
quick. Oh, yeah, that was my fault. Yeah, we
I'm
had,
not casting
The last,
fault. I'm
yeah,
just
the last
saying that-
resolution we had, it was a 7-member committee.
Okay.
Vice
So-
President, may I ask a
Yeah.
question?
Sure.
So why alternates? Why not just appoint the 7 as full voting members to opine on situations in town?
Yeah,
Why alternates if
we-
you have 7?
we- yeah,
Quorum
we-
would be 4.
We can, yeah, I don't
Yeah,
have a
it
problem with
would
it. I
just
think alternate
simplify.
got brought up, so I was just using that, but I'm fine with,
If
I'm
it's
full
just,
with full members, it's fine.
So then the question's still gonna be, is E gonna change to 3 members of the public appointed by the council? Or is it going to be, which is only getting us to,
Let's just do it next meeting.
Yeah, you gotta figure out what structure, how you want this
I'll have a
structured.
meeting with the current water supply committee before our next meeting. David, we'll work on the language and the membership, and then we'll bring what we discussed tonight back to the council in early February.
So I'll make a motion to rescind my motion to, of what we said, that's my, and you seconded it, right?
I'll rescind my second.
All right.
Okay, we'll just table it. All 3.
Is that
E, F, and G.
E, F, and G?
Yeah, just table them all.
Okay, so,
well, first there was a motion to rescind, gotta pass that motion.
Didn't say a word.
so now we gotta do roll call, right?
Yes.
Go
Oh,
ahead.
my goodness.
We're going to rescind now.
It's to rescind
To
your,
rescind.
Yes.
Yes.
Ms. Hamilton? Ms. O'Hara?
Oh, yes.
Mr. Ogier?
Yes,
Ms. Alves?
yes.
and then Joanne, if you could just put these 3 items on our next council meeting.
Thank you.
And switch F and G. You want
Yes,
those?
yes.
E, F, and G, right? Okay. All right. All right, open forum, agenda items only pursuant to 42-46-6D, maximum 3 minutes per person. Did anyone want to get up and speak?
Is this on? Yeah, this is on, right? Jeff Harris, 97 St. Paul Street. We were talking about grants, and we hired a new grant writer, right? The town. What's the process? Do we know? Do we have any idea? Because if I find a grant, or I'm looking for grants, who should I contact? If I'm looking for a grant, and should I contact the grant company directly? I mean, how does this work? What's the process involved? Because sometimes you need help with some of this stuff. I spend a lot of hours looking for grants, and they may have an edge, and it might be good to lean on them for that. So,
And you might be bringing grants to their attention that they don't know about.
exactly. So-
Would we like, can we add Mr. Harris to that meeting, or no?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Anybody that has an interest in
But just generally speaking, I think he's
Yeah.
asking if he has an idea for a grant or he comes across something, he could reach out to you,
Yeah, you
correct?
should go to the administrator.
Well, yeah. Okay, so we decided that it's going to come to the administrator to...
Absolutely.
Well, I think on the day-to-day basis, it doesn't make sense for it to come to the council.
Yeah,
Yeah, Jeff, if you want to contact me, I'll get in touch with them. ask them
I
to
have
look at
no
this.
issue talking to anybody. I just wanted to know, like, you know, if, I think whoever mentioned it, we should be collaborating, I think it was Doug, collaborating on how we go about this. We all have ideas about things we want to do for the town to get grant funding for and make stuff happen. So if I call Paulette and say, hey, I found this grant, you know, I'm just want to make sure that we're on keel with a process that, to fulfill some of this.
Yeah, and as you just said, Jeff, maybe they know of grants we don't know of. So,
Yeah,
yeah, I think this is professional grant writing. It's certainly going to alleviate a tremendous amount of work on the administrative folks. So these are professionals, they know the drill. We've been very successful in writing grants. But with a grant company now in place, I only foresee it getting better.
I hope so, yeah.
Yeah.
Good, thank you.
thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else like to get up and speak? Anyone else? Okay. All right, executive session, discussion by council vote or other action pursuant to Rhode Island General Law 42-46-5A2, Sessions pertaining to collective bargaining or litigation, or work sessions pertaining to bargaining or litigation or potential litigation, 1, potential litigation, and B, discussion by council vote or other action pursuant to Rhode Island General Law 42-46-5A5. Any discussions or considerations related to the acquisition or lease of real property for public purposes, or of the disposition of publicly held property wherein advanced public information would be detrimental to the interests of the public. 1, potential acquisition of land. Anyone make a motion to go into executive session?
I'll make a motion, we move into executive.
Second.
We have a motion, a second. Any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Biragad.
Yes.
Ms. Hamilton.
Yes.
Mrs. O'Hara.
Yes.
Mr. Ogier.
Yes.
Ms. Alves.
Yes.